Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Jared. Today I got a quick one on my V35 Skyline. I've got this sump that I picked up off Marketplace that I'm going to put on. So this here is a Greddy high capacity and baffled oil sump for VQ35DE engines. So I haven't seen much information on these online, but it's supposed to extend the capacity of your sump. So it's a bit deeper than the original one. I'm not sure how much it increases the capacity, so I'm going to have to work that out. It has these fins for increased cooling of the oil. It also comes with two M12 fittings here on the left and right side. If you have turbos, twin turbos or single turbos, you can run the drain in them. It's got a port here for the drain, normal for when you're servicing the car. And then inside it's got these baffles here. They're not particularly aggressive compared to some of the other sumps I've seen, but they are there, which the factory sump doesn't have. So as you can see, it has been used. It was on another car and I picked it up quite cheap. And you don't often see these come up for sale. They're not a particularly popular item. So I thought for my car that it would be perfect suit. It's pretty easy to install. Why would you want a baffled sump with high capacity? First reason is more oil in the sump is going to give you a greater cooling capacity because the heat is distributed over more volume. More oil capacity in the sump is also going to help prevent oil starvation. And the other thing with the baffles in there, when you're going around the corner left and right and the oil sloshes up, it's going to ensure that the oil pickup has sufficient oil and that you don't get cavitation, low oil pressure in your engine, and cause any sort of mechanical damage when that happens. My car's already jacked up, so that is the first part of the job. And then you're going to go ahead and remove the plastic under tray so we can get to the sump. And then under the car you can see these 10mm headed bolts. They're M6 bolts. You just got to go around and take them all out once we've drained the oil first. Now I've got the two sumps out of the car side by side. I can see straight away that the Greddy sump is a bit taller. It has more depth inside than this other one, and this one's got more like of a bow in it. And now you can see the baffles that are here as well. Another thing you will need is some different bolts. So these are the slightly longer ones. That was the original one and this is the aftermarket one. It's hard to see on the side here, but the Greddy one has a thick flange where this one has a flat rolled steel flange. So that's actually hollow. So yeah, make sure you go pick up some M6 by 20 bolts. And this is what it looks like underneath the car with the sump off. And you can see the dipstick just here. It's surprising how low that is because the pan only sits to about here. Not much oil capacity. And then you've got the pickup tube here. So what I've done is I've gone and I've just cleaned up that whole surface and got all the silicone off it. I just started with one of these scrapers, and then I find using the old razor blade at the end works quite well. And you want to try and get all the oil off the surface first before we stick it on, because if there's any oil it won't allow the silicone to seal very well. So what I've also done is I just cleaned out the oil that's up the back here, because it'll keep flowing from the back of the sump. so it stays dry long enough to put the sump up. So now I've just smeared the silicone all the way around the sump, relatively thick. You want it thick enough that it's going to fill those grooves in the sump, because those grooves are what's going to hold the silicone and stop it from moving. If it's too thin and doesn't get in there, it won't be enough. You want to see that a bit of the silicone sort of just oozes out of the side when you put it up. Now while we install this sump, are you wondering how I know how to work on cars? Well, it's simple. I buy my manuals from emanuals.com. They have over 2.5 million manuals online for all makes and models. They cover assembly, disassembly, maintenance and more, with step-by-step instructions that anyone can follow. If you're interested in expanding your mechanic knowledge, then use discount code JARED22 at checkout for 22% off store-wide. Please click the link in the description. When tightening these bolts, we need to start from the center and work our way out. That way, if there's any sort of bow in the pan, it gets pushed out to the ends where we tighten it last. Just remember, these are M6 bolts, so don't over tighten them too much. Refer to the torque specs in the manual. Just can't tell it all. Alright guys, that wraps up another video working on the Skyline today. Really happy with how the sumps turned out. I do wish that the capacity was a little higher. It only ended up being about half a litre extra in the end. So I took about 5 litres out, including when I tipped the sump, and I put about 5.5 to 6 litres back in the car after that. And also with the baffles in that sump, they're not really as deep, or they don't have trapdoors how I kind of imagined, but I think for the price and the quality of the product, I'm pretty happy with how things turned out. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments below. If not, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.